2015 to 2018 Iraqi protests. 2016 protests. On April 30, 2016, thousands of protesters entered the Green Zone in Baghdad and occupied the Iraqi parliament building. This happened after the Iraqi parliament did not approve new government ministers. The protesters included supporters of Shia cleric Muqtada al-Sadr. Although Iraqi security forces were present, they did not attempt to stop the protesters from entering the parliament building. Background. In 2014, Iraq's election led to a fractured parliament and inability to quickly form a government. Following frustration at the lack of progress, Muqtada al-Sadr promised to lead a sit-in near parliament within the Green Zone and calling for reforms to end corruption. Despite attempts by Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi to reshuffle his cabinet, he carried out the threat for a short period before calling on his supporters to disperse. The political instability in the country has been disconcerting to foreign governments, especially amongst rumors of former Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki political maneuvering. The U.S. had earlier called for the replacement of al-Maliki as prime minister as a condition for fighting ISIS. A few days before the protests, Parliament failed to reach a quorum to approve new ministers to replace the current government. Al-Abadi warned that a failure to form a new government would hurt the war against ISIS. Breaching of Green Zone in Parliament. Shortly after al-Sadr ended a news conference in Najaf where he condemned the political deadlock and warned that either corrupt officials and quotas remain or the entire government will be brought down and no one will be exempt from that, and that he would take a 2-month withdrawal from public life as he was waiting for the great popular uprising and the major revolution to stop the march of the corrupt. Though he did not order his supporters to enter the Green Zone, Shia protesters breached the barricades at the Green Zone and stormed the Iraqi parliament building. After crossing a bridge across the Tigris River, a guard at a checkpoint reported that the protesters had not been searched before entering, while television footage showed them waving the flag of Iraq while some were standing on top of concrete blast walls at the outer barrier to the Green Zone. They chanted "The cowards ran away," in reference to MPs leaving parliament. While there were scenes of rioting, other protesters shouted peacefully as they tried to contain the destruction. Some of the protesters pulled barbed wire across a road leading to one of the exits from the Green Zone, while several vehicles believed to belong to MPs were attacked and damaged. While there were no clashes with the security forces, an Army Special Forces unit was dispatched with armored vehicles and all entrances to the city of Baghdad were shut as a precautionary measure to maintain the capital's security, according to an unnamed security official, although no curfew had been imposed. Hundreds of protesters were seen dancing, waving Iraqi flags and chanting pro-al-Sadr slogans, while others appeared to be breaking furniture. Security was also increased at state institutions such as the headquarters for the Central Bank of Iraq and the airport. Other protesters were said to be convening at the road to Baghdad International Airport to stop politicians from leaving the city and or the country. Reactions. President Fuad Massoum called on the protesters to leave the parliament building but added, burying the regime of party and sectarian quotas cannot be delayed. Sheikh Mohammed al-Gharawi, an al-Sadr spokesman, also said that al-Sadr had called on his supporters to evacuate the parliament building and set up tents outside. Negotiations are ongoing between security and government officials and protesters' representatives to make sure their demands are met.